Hello and welcome back to the Shonen Dump podcast. My name is Nick, and I'm joined by my co-host, Bobby.
What is good, all?
We're back with another week of Shonen Jump. There's no One Piece this week, but pretty much everything else is here. I'm pretty sure the only series that we cover that isn't here right now is Blue Exorcist.
Yeah, pretty much.
Got a lot to talk about this week, but with no One Piece, we'll see how things go.
Fill in the void.
Yeah.
A lot of good chapters this week anyway, so.
It's true. All right, and we're going to start this week off with Spy Family. Anya's walking to school. I really like this chapter.
I thought it was great. I really enjoyed it.
The dynamic between Anya and, like, her headmaster is one that I really enjoy. He does not respect her, like, at all. He sees her as just super shallow, and I think that's really funny.
It's like he sees potential in her, right? He's all about the elegance, and he feels the potential. That's why he tries so hard to take her aside and be like, this is what you need to be aspiring for. And so, like, I love the gags that they have. She's just failing to meet all of his expectations in, like, every corner. Anya's facial reactions are just always S tier. They're just fantastic all the time.
How completely, like, rude she is to the headmaster is very funny to me. He asks her if she can help him, like, walk to school with, he's carrying a bunch of books and he wants to, like, talk to her and, kind of be a teacher, impart some wisdom. And he's like, would you like to help me carry these things to school? And she's like, nah, I'm kind of busy. She's just sitting alone on a bus and just doesn't want to help him at all. And just constantly throughout the thing as he's trying to impart wisdom, he's like, what do you want? And she's just like, I just want to be the best. I like the way the stars look.
Yeah, I thought that panel in particular was really funny, where she was like kind of nervous and like that thing of, why do you want to be the Imperial Scholar? And like, why do you want the Stellas? And she's like, the thing is, they look super cool. And I was like, because I think the thing about that was there was a panel where she had a much more nervous, like, composure, and then it just kind of does the same panel, but this time she's like really like the shading and everything makes her really serious looking. And I was just like, oh my gosh.
The fact that she's also reading his mind and is, like, completely misinterpreting what he wants out of her, but she thinks she's saying the right thing is hilarious as well.
Yeah, that's super funny.
He asks her about, like, how he's worried that she'll be sad about the Tantarus bolts. And she, like, completely forgot about it. She's like, doesn't care. But then she reads his mind. She's like, oh, I guess she's not upset. And then she's like, oh, yeah, I am upset. She thinks that's, like, what's normal.
Yeah.
And he's just like, oh, he's like, well, don't worry. Like, there's this many, like, there was an Imperial Scholar who had 6. And she's like, oh, well, I'm going to be one too. Like, really, why? why do you want to be one? It's like, just because I think it'd be awesome to be above everyone. That's just really, like, just, I don't know. She's completely missing the point. She's got a lot of maturing to do. It's very funny.
Yeah, it's really funny to have a character who's like a mind reader, but because she's, a literal child, she's supposed to be 6 and she might even be younger because we technically don't know. She knows what people are thinking, but she herself is not smart enough or mature enough to, like, process what other people are thinking. It's just really funny to see how the misunderstandings pop up, because she's, like, basically just a chaotic child. Like, her brain, like, doesn't work right. It's really innocent, but also, like, the misunderstanding that brews is just really funny.
Yeah, I like how the chapter ends with him kind of offering to take time out of his day to review her tests and help her get the things she missed. And she's like, nah, I had my reward. You offered me tea cakes. I'm gonna go home now. Thanks.
Yeah.
And it's just a panel of him close up, just like squinting. Education is never easy.
I like the I like the very ending too, when it's like she's back home and she asks Lloyd to, like, help her because that's what he was helping her study before and whatever. And he was like, why would you suddenly want to actually study? And then he realized, and the expression on his face when he realized, like, oh no, you messed up. And I was like, oh my god.
I just love that he's, like, becoming more and more just, like, paranoid and like unhinged as time is going on.
I think it's really funny how like at this point like he just knows something's wrong. There's like he can like make assumptions now. He's just like, oh no, I got that feeling. Yeah, but it was a great chapter. I really enjoyed it. Coming from the previous chapters where we were really missing the forgers themselves, I think this is a really great intro back into, you know, their life.
Yeah, I wonder if we're gonna get more of that. The school or just their home life is what I'm itching for. Ruri Dragon. Chapter 3 was pretty good. I didn't hate it. I still thought it's weird that everyone is just very nonchalant, but I mean,
Yeah, they all think she's cool. I mean, so first of all, I just want to start out the very beginning, like the very like first couple panels. I just want to note, I really like looking at characters' rooms just because it kind of says something about them. And she's like really disheveled, and like she has her Switch in her hand, her phone on her bed, and like her clothes are everywhere. And I remember looking at that, and I was like, man, that's literally me, man.
I yeah, I like the beginning of this chapter a lot. Them just talking at the table and her friend being happy that they're going to school together again, but the actual like them at school was still very strange to me. This is like super surreal that like everyone's just like, oh, this is if I had let's just put myself and yourself in this scenario. If she existed in our world, I would stay so far away from her because she burned a kid's like scalp. I don't know. That's like I'd be so afraid that that would happen to me. I'd be like at least across the room.
His hair. She singed his hair.
All right, but like you know what I mean.
Yeah,
Man.
it's like
I wouldn't
if
want
it
to
was a
sit in
little
front of
more-
her ever. I would be like I'd want to be like opposite corner of the room at the very least.
Yeah, because this is the type of thing where it's like you would expect like maybe one or two kids because they're weirdos would be like, oh, this is so sick. But for like for what seemingly everyone, it is a little funky, but
But yeah, no,
it seems like
I've kind of gotten used to it at this point. You know, like the
yeah, you've adjusted.
yeah the the discomfort I had at the beginning is no longer really there. It's just kind of replaced with confusion. It's not a bad series, but I don't
There
know.
are
It's
there are a
weird.
couple things. There are a couple things in this chapter though that I think they seem like they're alluding to something a little bigger, like in the background of the story. Because there was mention of the teacher specifically when he entered the room. He said the exact quote was, "After all, you're far from the first case of someone in society who's different from the average person." And that could just be normal teacher speak, words of wisdom. Because I'm sure everyone can relate to that to some degree. But he also mentions later, is Kaneo absent again? And so it makes me kind of wonder, who is Kaneo and what are the degrees of being not average? Because it seems like this world might actually be a little more adjusted to strange occurrences than it lets on. It might even be playing into the themes of, oh, you know, what makes you a little bit different. Like you could almost take this growing into a dragon thing as akin to puberty, maybe. But you know, well, I guess you know, well, it's an interesting idea to think about.
Yeah, I saw that line of like people are weird all over the place, and I was like, I took it two different ways, and I kind of just put them both in the back of my mind, being like, all right, which one of these is going to end up being true? Is it going to be that there are other beings out there like Ruri that are different species, or is it going to be just an allegory for like, oh, this is puberty kind of thing, like what you said? So we'll see where this story goes. If there's probably going to be other weird beings, but
Yeah, because if her dad is a dragon, you know, there's probably other people.
One Punch Man. We continue the Galaxy Garo timeline.
He's messing everything up, man.
This fight is nuts so far. He's using like nuclear bombs as punches.
Yeah, like the scale of the fight has gotten like galaxy level. Like we're on like Gurren Lagann scale of like people are like the explosions. You know, it's just like what.
It seems to me that this is like the end. It
Yeah.
feels like this is the end. But Garo can mimic completely, or at least very close to perfectly, other fighting styles. and we got kind of like basically like a crazy page turn of him swapping to his martial art Saitama, and did you see like Saitama's face appear on Garo, and he also does consecutive normal punches.
It was the biggest like Ora Muda 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 clash. Like it spanned like 3 double page spreads. Super sick. I thought actually too, there was like a color page in the middle of the chapter, and it's really funny, like in the clouds, like just to illustrate the scale. They have like their silhouettes in the cloud, and they're like facing off to like about to do this, and it's, you know, Garo at this point is like, he's incredibly powerful to the point where at the end of the chapter we don't even see Saitama. He got scratches on him, you know, that was like, that's a big deal, low key. We have Garo standing, supposedly the victor at the end here, about to threaten all the people on Earth, but we know it's not going to end that way, but we'll see.
Yeah, I definitely doubt it. I wonder if any of these heroes are going to die. If Saitama is going to have to like step up his game because he's starting to actually kill heroes.
I think a Bang sacrifice might be in order.
I don't know. I think we might see more people go. Maybe not permanently, but I can see Genos getting really fucked up here.
Yeah, there's definitely got to be some sort of retaliation by the heroes. I mean, it could end up being like they all fight him, and then they're trying to stall for time until Saitama really comes at the end. But at this point, the story is like a little... It seems like it's wrapping up, though, because like I don't know what you're supposed to do beyond this scale.
Especially because like Saitama's getting like evenly matched at this point. I guess the only way to go would be Saitama's the underdog, but I don't think that's the point of the story.
But I suppose in that case, we'll just have to see for Saitama to come back. Similar to another manga we might be reading, Mashle.
This chapter I actually liked quite a bit.
Yeah, I found myself liking it also.
The ending annoyed me, but literally everything else I thought was great.
It was feeling like we were making progress. I thought it was really funny, the scene where Ryo was like, I'm giving you pride in yourselves. Like, he's just bestowing pride among the people, and they're like, you can do that? And he's like, yeah.
And it works too. It seems to work. And then he fails like immediately. He probably didn't die. I don't know, but...
Oh yeah, the giant explosion blast.
Yeah, the city's in ruins. Everyone's hunting down Mash, and the doctor lady is, like, fighting them off. And the little goblin gator is turning the key, but he's too weak to do it, and Mash is dying again. The counter's going all the way back down.
I really like the introduction of that scene, where, like, the little gobbly guy is just like, yeah! And he's, like, trying to stab Mash. I like his interactions here. It's way funnier than the joke of, like, that's just been repeated multiple times, which I guess they sort of almost repeated it again, just with him instead of her this time. But Mash is still not ready. In fact, it seems like he's actually made negative progress.
I just hope that the next chapter goes all the way back to 100.
That's all we can hope for, really. Me and Roboco this week was sopping with drip, dude.
It's true. It was dripping wet. I want the Master Tea in real life.
Dude, like I'm really big on the oh yeah, manly man like dish thing, you know? That shirt was pretty clean.
Those look good, but I would pretty much want everything, including the one that was played for a joke. That the Master Tea cracks me up.
One. Yeah, that one's good.
The knee one was funny. It's nuts. They I like that they were like, this will be our new character designs. It was like, no, these are just now they're sold out. Those are samples. You have to give them back. And it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, the whole chapter was like, I love the introduction to it where we just see Gory in like this like absurd outfit. It's so gaudy. It like doesn't actually, like, in my opinion, in my eyes, I don't think it actually looks good at all. But they're treating it like it's super cool. And then as you keep on going, you know, Motsuo has a new bow tie, which is like, ooh, he was... But I just like the whole, like, build up into the chapter. And I really appreciate how the color page that existed was just them in the new outfits. That was pretty cool. Like, the front cover page was used in black and white in the main chapter.
Yeah, it was nice. It was just fun. It was just lighthearted and fun. Liked it a lot.
Yeah, it was real good.
The design, this author's kind of good at designing clothes. Do you think that's what they want to do? Do you think they're gonna try to start their own line or design their own merch for this? Because like they're doing a good job.
I mean, if we're to trust what they were talking about in the show, it's kind of possible that someone outside made these clothes and they just incorporated them. Like this could very well be real merch, you know?
Mm,
Like I feel like that's almost reasonable cuz like when you look at them wearing the shirts, like like in that panel where they're wearing the clothes, it almost feels like they took real life JPEGs and just kind of shoved them in there, you know?
true.
And so like I don't know, like I don't know if the author's the one who designed it. I don't know if someone else designed it. What I know for sure is that this is merch like that I kind of actually want in real life.
But Bondo's Tokyo Trout Squad hat is iconic.
Oh yeah, that's
So
true.
you can't replace that. Yeah, no, the rest of it, I wouldn't mind owning some of this stuff. The knee would probably be my pick if I had to pick one.
I
But
like the oh yeah, manly man dinner shirt.
that's pretty funny. That'd probably be my second one. Very good. This chapter's just fun, silly concept.
Super fun, yeah.
I've noticed something because I've been rereading a lot of old manga for this, and I'm catching up on Bleach because I've never read it, and a lot of the stuff I experience is stuff from old authors, right? They come from a different era, and so when I read this and I read other stuff and they use terms like drip, I'm like, whoa,
Yeah.
this is crazy.
Cuz it shocked me when I saw that too cuz I literally looked at the panel of like Gory coming in with his new fit, and I literally thought instantly, like the first possible millisecond of time, I was like, "Yo, drip," and it just kept on going. I'm like, "Dude, they're these guys are moist."
Well, what's really funny is like they don't mention it for like three more panels, right? And
Mm-hmm.
then they're both like when Bondo makes a comment, then it's like Bondo's the only one with no drip. And I was like, damn, this is crazy.
It's sick though. I really appreciate the chapter. It's super fun. Kaiju number 8. We're back to Hibino. We're Kafka. Hibino is back on screen, ladies and gentlemen. He's returned.
Finally, dude, finally.
I actually really appreciate what they did with the whole he's hearing about Reno, and like we're kind of reaffirming his like current goal and like what he wants right now. I really appreciate the whole like reset on like understanding where he's at mentally.
I like the vice captain showing up to kind of like I guess mess with him, but also give him a pep talk. Like that's nice.
Yeah.
I like that scene. It's just kind of reaffirming his goal, like you said. So there's not like a whole lot new here, but I think it's just a really sweet, interaction.
Yeah. I mean, you love to see like those types of things where it's like there's that guy who's like giving you a hard time, but like you like strip a layer away and you're like, "Oh, you're on my side."
It's nice that like technically like they're rivals, right? Like the other two are not really rivals with Kafka. This guy is technically his like rival because he's number two to Captain Ashiro, and Kafka wants to be that. And so technically these two are rivals, and he's sort of treated him kind of coldly up until this point, but now he's just, seeing he's having a rough day of it. So he's like, you know what, I'm going to be nice to him. And that's nice. I always like that trope of like the rival being like, hey, you're having a bad day. Like, I'll leave you alone today. You need a shoulder to cry on? I got you. Like, that's always sweet. I always like
Mhm.
that stuff.
I really like the monologue that Kafka was giving too at the end when he was reaffirming like his goals and everything. I really like the part where he was wondering, like he was comparing himself to Reno, how he was saying Reno is like by his own efforts becoming stronger. He's like catching up to me, and he's like, what if Kafka's kind of feeling it's like some imposter syndrome, you know? He's just kind of like, what have I done to like really achieve any of this? And he kind of feels like he hasn't really done anything, and so he's kind of like, it's just frustrating that on my own like merits I like can't do anything, you know. And I thought that was a really cool take because Kafka like is self-aware of his position as like, I didn't deserve the strength that I got. I just kind of, it stumbled upon me. And so I thought it was cool how he's like, I recognize that I'm not strong enough to do it on my own, but at the same time I need that power to fight to protect everyone else. He's taking up the role basically.
And now the vice captain's going to train him like one-on-one how to fight, which is going to be probably pretty cool. I like training arcs. So just not when they're the whole thing. When the whole
Yeah.
thing's a training arc, it's different.
once we get the payoff, it'll be like, yes, that training arc was so sick.
Mm-hmm. Spirits are high. Now that Kafka's back on the screen, I'm definitely enjoyed this chapter a lot more than I have the past few. But I we'll see where it goes. I just want to see my boy do cool stuff and achieve his goal.
I wonder. He said, I'll teach you how to fight. Do you think it's gonna be as a human, not a kaiju, right? Because they were talking about how kaijus, every time he goes into the kaiju form, it's gonna be harder for him to go back to being human.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. That's what I got too, vibe wise.
Yeah, so I mean, I wonder if it's something very fundamental that he could implement while he is a kaiju. I guess it's possible, but I kind of wonder like how strong will Kafka be in the kaiju form versus like in his like normal human state, you know? Like how strong can he actually become if he like gets the proper opportunity in training?
I think that what their goal here is to just make the kaiju form as like a literal last ditch effort, which I'm sure it will come to almost every time because in the series is called Kaiju number 8.
Right.
But like I think that he'll probably be like way more enhanced with this training, but he'll try not to use it pretty much at all.
Yeah, like a pipe dream I have, I don't expect this to happen, but I just think it would be a really fun turn if it turns out that Kafka in his human form might even be more competent than Kaiju number 8. But I don't expect that to happen, but it would be a neat twist if that were to kind of be how it comes up.
That would be cool. Don't think that'll happen, but if that happens, that would be sick. I would like that too. Undead Unluck. The fight ended, I think.
It seems that way.
Ghost took over Nico's mind because Andy shattered it by breaking all his stuff. He's like a giga hoarder. You know, he was saying everything in this lab, like he remembers why it's important to him, and Andy just shattered all of it.
It's all the memories he had before he was unforgettable.
He just kind of broke his mind by getting rid of everything. So then Ghost took over, and they were having a cool ghost battle. They were pulling some Danny Phantom level stuff.
Yeah, I actually thought it was really cool how Andy was shown, because his soul is significantly older. I just think it's cool how Andy's soul is significantly older than his body because he's undead and he doesn't like age like that. So I just like that it reminds us, hey, Andy is an old man.
Yeah, no, that is very cool. I like that
Nice
a lot.
touch.
And Nico comes back. All right, Ghost like has Fuko's soul, and he's like, if you hurt me, you'll hurt her. And it's like, oh no, what am I gonna do? And then Nico immediately comes back and is like, this is lame as hell. He pulls Fuko's soul out of him, and he's like, all right, Andy, freaking kill me now. And I was like, that was kind of. I thought this when I saw Ghost take over his body, I was like, oh, we got like 2 more chapters of this fight, or at least another chapter. But it like started and ended like very quickly.
Yeah.
And I was a little surprised, but I mean I thought it was fine. I like that that Nico got to go out on his like own terms. He kind of got to like heel, I guess not heel turn, face turn at the very end.
I did think what he was saying as he was like ripping the ghost out of his like mind. I think it was kind of interesting where he was like, I hate a bunch of unscientific rules. If you're not going to follow the rules, then you're an enemy of science. And I was just like, so, because it gives us a little bit more of a glimpse into Nico's like mind and philosophy and understanding. And he's very much a science man. He's a doctor. And so I think it's interesting how he so rejects the idea of science, and I guess it makes sense from this perspective for him to be like, you know what, Andy, you got it, man. Kill God. He just brings all this unscientific stuff out here, and Nico's a man of science. He wants to believe in human accomplishment and discovery, you know? And so I'm just kind of like, it's a little too Undead Unlucky in that it doesn't portray it super well, but I guess if you look for it with a fine-tooth comb, the seeds are there for the ideas. Like the conflict between Andy and Nico previously, I guess this is the conclusion that Nico has just kind of come up with.
How do you feel about the Andy changed his interpretation of movement to mobilize his soul? How do you feel about that? I thought that was dumb anime bullshit. What
Yeah,
did
so
you?
I feel like Undead Unluck has done that a lot, especially in like this like later half of the series is what it feels like. Where they're just kind of like, well, these are the rules established, but what if we just like think about the rules differently? Like maybe things work different than what we think, and then it just becomes true. And I'm like, um, okay. It feels really weird because we don't see them fail to attempt to reorganize how they see things. And so when it just keeps working all the time, where they're like, oh, well, I thought that my soul was in my brain, because that was like an explanation from a while ago. Andy was like, I thought my soul was my life was like attached to my brain. So, but it turns out that I can actually just concentrate my life force on somewhere else, and then that's where my body regrows from. And I'm like, okay, that's like a cool idea in the moment, but Undead Unluck, like pretty much every single time has just shown to be, oh yeah, this is if you just think about it different, it just works. And so it's like, I don't know, like is there ever an opportunity to show the characters like try to do that and fail? Like not really. Like I don't know. And so it just seems a little bit too Deus Ex Machina-y, except the Deus Ex Machina is the characters themselves just thinking from a different point of view, which is a valid thing to like. Changing your perspective is a valid way to like get power that you didn't previously have, but it shouldn't be working every single time like it is in this series.
The villain should be able to do it too.
Yeah, like where is the villain that uses their own logic against them? They just aren't around.
Despite that, the chapter was fine. I liked it.
Yeah, we're like finishing the fight. Hopefully, I mean, there's still the one other guy who's like around, but maybe Andy will get on the arc like last second. I don't know.
Yeah, I want Fuko back in the story.
Yeah, wake up, Fuko. What are you doing?
I like the duo, so I hope that happens soon. But
we probably have to go back to the past first before we can get there. But
My Hero Academia, fight's not over. Endeavor's gonna die.
He put in a lot of work though.
He did put in a lot of work. He's just torching him and his own body. He has a lot of inner kind of reflections, which is cool.
Yeah, I actually I thought it was nice, like what he was saying, how he has to keep, the atonement doesn't really end. He needs to not be in the way of the new generation. He needs to let himself recognize that what he did was wrong and that he can't really take it back. There's no real end to the struggle of atonement. What is scary though is that after thinking All for One has been defeated, I thought the panel where he was like, did you really think I'd casually saunter up to the big finale empty-handed? I thought those panels, like the art of like his like burnt to a crisp body, were like really cool. Like the detail and the shading and like the line work is just like, ooh, it's like that perfect like creepy vibe.
And the last panel of him like smiling with his eyeball like jutting out. Heroes don't have a monopoly on big sacrificial moments, Like, I don't know, what is he gonna like take out everyone there? That's wild. Probably won't kill anyone in Class A though, but they'll survive because can't kill merchandise opportunities.
Yeah. Okay, now at the very, very end, Midoriya spots several figures flying in from the distance.
There's Koichi, dude.
There's two potential things that could happen. Either A, what you said, it's Koichi and like other heroes from like around the world or like America or something, different country heroes, foreign heroes coming in to help, or B, it's villain reinforcements.
They used the magnifying glass as Koichi. I got in there, I was like, there he is, right there. You
hit him with the criminal minds, you enhance the photo, 10,000x zoom.
I looked around the room, all these like equations were flying around, I was like, that's Koichi. That's him. Insanely just throwing my wish at the manga right now, but if he goes in here, I'm completely invested again.
I would be really happy if he finally shows up, because I've kind of been waiting for that to happen, low-key. Especially because Vigilante has ended recently, but we'll see. It based on the way he sounded, because All for One was like, heroes don't have a monopoly on big sacrificial moments. It makes me think he's sacrificing himself to open the opportunity for the other villains. So maybe it's them, but also Shigaraki, like, it's still, So I don't know if they need him, but we have to find out. I really hope it's Koichi. So Dandadan, I thought the chapter, I mean, it's basically like the wrap-up chapter from the previous arc, The house is destroyed, people are relaxing, we're basically just resetting for the next arc. I thought it was a nice conclusion, like everything that happened.
I liked Minecraft Steve.
Yeah, I mean, how did they explain it? It was like, you just kind of like use your brain and like things just assemble the way you want them to or something.
You put the Minecraft blocks in place and you imagine what you want as you're like molding it, and it just uses your brain waves to get the object right. I liked it. I think it was intentional to make them blocks and to make him look like Minecraft Steve. Okarin's him wanting to like help out rebuild was very nice. So he got the big crab guy to come help. Gigi's leaving?
Yeah. I mean, I guess you can just go home now. I'm still kind of like wondering, because I mean, he's gonna come back because he has to fight Okarun like constantly, like on a pretty consistent basis.
I thought for sure he wouldn't be able to leave until this thing is dealt with, but I guess it's part of the deal. I don't know.
Yeah, no, the deal is like you can come out. It's just at a specific time every week, and then we'll fight. And so that's why that's the reason they like left the underwear behind, because he was like, this part wants to kill still. So I'll leave this behind, but because the guy even said like, I'll take care of this cursed object. Like apparently this underwear is like significant somehow. But
Ayase and Granny and Dash Granny, the two grandmas and Ayase, and the anatomical woman go to the spa together today. That was fun. I liked that part, and the reveal that they were talking to Ayase was like, how are we gonna fix our house? Like, what do we do? It's like, oh, I have no idea. We spent all of our money on that last bathhouse. The bathhouse visit, that was all our money.
Yeah.
Like, what? I thought it was very funny.
Yeah, it was a nice chapter. I like the last spread too, where everyone's just, it's like basically the house is like pretty much built back up. I love seeing like the stuff like that, because you just see, it's just like a nice like reset into normalcy. I don't really know what the lights are that are like in that. Maybe they're just artistic. I didn't really question them too much, but
blonde girl and the little baby alien making little sculptures out of it. I thought that was very fun.
Yeah, them playing was like very cute. The little like the mantis shrimp guy's like son.
I really like that Dash Granny is just kind of chilling now. She's not really a problem anymore. Dandadan's so good. I'm so glad that it's back.
Yeah, nice chapter. I liked it. So Blue Box, dude, Taichi did it, bro.
He won. I didn't expect him to win, to be honest.
I actually thought it was really scary when Yusa was like having fun during the match. I thought his expression was like uncomfortable for me. I was like, you shouldn't be happy. Stop smiling. I didn't like. I was like, what the heck? I didn't dislike it. It just, the art, I was like, I'm not used to this,
I'm not used to this. He's not supposed to smile.
Yeah, dude, he's supposed to be like the edgy rival. But Taichi comes out on top at the end, Yeah, I love the panel of Taichi like sitting down outside after the match, got some water, and he's like, he lifted his fists up. I won. Very satisfying.
Hina missed an opportunity to congratulate him. Like, it's kind of weird that she's just like, nah, I'm not going to say anything to him. I'm going to leave.
I don't know what she's thinking either, to be honest.
I think maybe she was just thinking the whole time that he was going to lose. Because her whole vibe was, I don't want to see him lose, and maybe she's ashamed that she didn't believe in him. I don't know. Regardless, go congratulate him if you want to date the boy.
You know who did show up? Shinatsu. I actually thought it was really funny how she was like she did like the hands behind her back, like left or right. I was kind of like, I don't know if this is a nod to the split symbolism from before, but okay.
I read that and I was like, Bobby's gonna bring that up. I knew you were gonna say that, and I thought it was funny. It was like they were the same,
but one had special feelings. She definitely was gonna say the one with special feelings was the one that Taichi picked no matter what. Listen. All I'm gonna say is, if you recall back to the panel, to the page where Taichi did the split, And underneath that panel of the split, there's faces of Chinatsu and Hina. Chinatsu was the face on the right, and Hina was the face on the left. And Taichi just chose the right bottle from Hina's hands, meaning, or not Hina, from Chinatsu's hands, meaning he's picking Chinatsu. It's all symbolism. It's all coming together.
I mean, you could be right. I don't know. That just seems a little too pretentious for me.
Yeah, no. My brain keeps track of these things, but I recognize that not everything will pan out the way my mind's eye views them. Yeah, but like I thought it was a pretty great chapter, Blue Box. I really liked it. Again, like similar to Dandadan, they're just kind of like wrapping up the arc.
Sakamoto Days.
Yeah, it was just kind of like a chapter. I thought it was funny how like they have to shoot the vending machine to like get the food. The like invisible guy, like he's like more involved now, I guess. I don't know. It feels like this is more of a setup chapter than like anything.
The stuff with the invisible guy is like he's the brother of the mask man, but it seems like the fact that he's not in school is not gonna get attention for a little bit. Because the brother's just like, it might be a good thing he's not here. That's like the end of it seems.
I like the second half of the chapter though, where it's focusing on Sakamoto having to like he goes to that an abandoned dorm type of thing, and I thought the action sequences were really awesome.
I think the part with the vacuum was
that was awesome.
Hilarious.
The part where he like vacuums the guy's hair and then just drags him across the wall, that was awesome.
The stuff in this series is just kind of insane sometimes that I can't take it seriously, but it's so cool that I don't think I care.
Yeah, it's like a super like exaggerated like rule of cool type of thing. It's just like this shouldn't work, but we're gonna make it work, and that makes it awesome.
He's got like 20 minutes left or something of the disguise.
It happened a lot sooner than I thought. The time limit coming up, I didn't think that'd be mentioned for a bit.
This series does that where they just kind of like put things up there that makes it seem it's gonna take a while, and then they're just like, well, it's over.
The pace of Sakamoto Days is definitely very, very blazing fast.
Aliens area.
It was fine to me.
90% of this chapter, I like didn't care what was happening.
Yeah, it was just like they were explaining mechanics of powers and whatnot.
And now there's going to be crime syndicate plot or something like that.
Yeah, there's like the alien thing. They like it leads them into a factory, and then they go to the factory. There's like a box. They open the box. There's like another alien inside the box, but it's a nice alien this time. It looks really funny because it looks like the siblings. Well, I guess that's just how all children look in the aliens area world. The scope of the story, I guess, is just instantly getting a lot more like outer spacey, intergalactic scale, which I guess makes sense because the series is called Aliens Area. This had to happen, but I don't know how much information we really gleaned from this chapter about how big of a deal this is. I guess it gives the opportunity for the main character to strut his stuff a little more.
He immediately knows how to control his power too. I feel like they're skipping a lot.
Yeah, I kind of think the way the plot's progressing is just kind of like it feels kind of checklisty. Like it doesn't really feel too natural. It's just like, oh, new thing happened. Deal with it. I was like, okay, I guess so. Sure.
I don't know how to feel about this yet, but it's only 4 chapters in. There's still room for improvement.
Yeah.
So hopefully it'll get its groove once the story arc opens.
Once we get to the first like big arc, maybe.
Jujutsu Kaisen.
I actually really enjoyed this chapter.
I thought the fight was cool, but we had more like rule explanation, and like apparently he has a secret ability that just makes his luck better. I don't know. This was weird. This power is just so weird.
I think at this point, my eyes just have glazed over so far back to the back of my head that they've just wound back to the front. I like don't... I've just accepted that I can't understand the nature of his power. So I just kind of accept the fact that, okay, literally the strategy is keep rolling until you get lucky. And that's all I really need to know at this point for me, personally. I'm just like, okay, if he just tries enough times, he eventually just becomes invincible.
I kind of want it to be done. I want one of them to punch them until the other one stops moving, and then we move on. Because I just can't like grasp the weight of everything that's going on. Because it looks like he's beating the crap out of this guy, but then he's fine, and he fights back. You know what I mean?
Kari Kinji, he's supposed to be, because he was like mentioned to be on like the same tier as Okotsu or something like that, right? And so like he was supposed to be one of the two people that was like potentially Gojo's like next successor or whatnot. I guess it makes sense that he's just so unbelievably strong, but they do kind of bait you into thinking that maybe it's going to be over sooner than later. That said though, I thought the explanations for the power with the electric thing, I thought that was actually super cool because I could actually understand it. I was like, it's very interesting. Like the mechanics are very well thought out, like using the electrolysis to create, like, what was it, chlorine in the air so that Kinji would like fall in. Of course though, Kinji's too strong, so he just wakes up, punches them, like whatever in the thing. The fight's not over. We'll see. Very interesting. It was a pretty text heavy chapter, but I thought the action definitely made up for it, and I thought the explanations were pretty good. I really like the scene where Kinji, you see him upside down and he wakes up and like you can see the water foam like coming out of his nostrils.
That panel was cool. I like that one too. The
Yeah.
actual fight, I think, was fine. This fight is just bogged down by like a bunch of mechanics that we can't really understand anyway because the base is so convoluted.
Yeah, I definitely feel that. Like I said, I've just come around to it by accepting that I'm just here for the ride now. I've like just accepted that I can't understand it, so I'm just kind of like, whatever.
I don't know if I could do that.
Yeah.
But I'm still gonna read and I'm here for it. I just want this fight to be over. Doron Dororon. We just met everyone.
Yeah, I mean, we were kind of introduced to them before. I guess the context was how their first impression of Doro was, and now we get their personalities. They had like a bunch of lore dumping, like in the first few pages, and I'll be honest, I kind of felt like Dora felt after it. I like read all the words, and I was like, oh my god, dude, how is this chapter not even half over yet?
I thought that it was kind of nothing. The lore's whatever. The lore's fine. A lot of words to basically say this guy's bad. We gotta beat him. But the stuff after is what I'm talking about. Just characters one by one walking up. Hey, nice to meet you. Here's our personality. Goodbye. I thought that just happened. Like it happened like 3 times or 4 times in a row.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of like, okay. I don't care. These guys are probably not going to be too important. So I wasn't too interested. And at the very end, the conflict seems to be like they're gonna be sad about it, but it's like, okay, we're gonna if Kusanagi has to die, he has to die, and we don't have to worry about it anymore. They're both cool with it. And it's like, I feel like there should be more thought for this before we move on to this point, you know? Like they should.
I felt the same thing.
Like, why are we moving past it now? The conflict just got introduced and it was interesting, and now they're like, well, we don't want it to happen, of course, but it's a necessary evil. And it's like, let's take some time to get to that point if that's what you want to go to. Can we have a few chapters where they're kind of not talking about it, but it's like in the back of their minds, and then you get to this scene, it just happened.
Yeah, I think the perfect way they could have taken it would have been to have a new conflict with a Mononoke who is a very like sympathetic villain. You know, like they're doing a bad thing, which is why they have to stop them, but they understand that they don't have to be bad. You know, and so I feel like that would have been like a great, like I'm not the writer for this story, so they can take it the direction that they want, but something like that helps to expand the theme as to why it's important and why it's a difficult choice that they have to make. But I don't know, I mean, they show Kusanagi like tearing up, so I guess
like
maybe
he clearly doesn't want to, which
yeah,
I guess is
so
one thing, but he's like, it's gonna have to happen.
yeah, so I mean, I wonder if this conflict, I'm hoping that they're just saying this because they know that there's something that they gotta do. They gotta pick something to do, and that they're just saying this, and this will actually be a problem that comes up later. But if this is actually how the conflict ends, that's kind of a shame.
Well, I don't think it's going to end the way that they're portraying it's going to end. I think Kusanagi is going to get to stay or something along those lines. I think there's going to be a happy end for that. I just think that the fact that the in-world conflict of them dwelling over this is like basically over is really lame.
Yeah, no. I'm just saying that if the conflict is over, like they're just chill with it and it's never brought up again, that would really suck. But my hope is that it's kind of just dwelling inside of them, actually unresolved, even though they were saying that it's resolved. You know what I mean? Like it's there's still lingering feelings about that that'll affect their actions in the future. But I mean, we'll have to see if this is the in-world conflict ending right now, that's a total shame, and it should be persisting in their actions in the future, like even at least unconsciously. Super smartphone.
I like this series a whole lot. I like the I lose that panel.
Yeah,
that panel got me.
I think the panel that got me was when we see Zenichiro like go absolute psycho mode with like, it's like he's reading his smartphone, he like dishevels himself a little bit, he like grabs his hair, and it's like his face is like psychotic, you know. I like that because it really replants the fact that his like extraness is like a facade. He's actually just crazy, like obsessed.
Yeah, he wants people to need him, to completely depend on him. But I really like the like 2-panel kind of conversation or 3-panel conversation of just them alone being like, "Hey, pseudonym, is it really secure?" Like, no. And then they're like, "All right, well, let's call it quits. Contact me again." And they hang up. Like, I want this friendship to like become way better. Something about it, I'm really liking the dynamic between these two. I want them to actually become like partners where they work together consistently and are able to fully trust each other. Like I'm excited. But something I got from this chapter, I don't think that guy is the one who killed his brother. I mean, I've thought that for a while now, but I think that this is just the start. Like, I don't think he's the big bad. I don't think he's the big bad.
I think that's very possible also. Actually, they after the conversation that he had with the police chief, there was like a show of someone's not face, but like the bottom half of their face, and they were like, "Hot damn," kind of implying that they were listening in. Yeah, I am curious to see like how they come up, because it wasn't the same person that was brought up later as like one of his cronies, you know, because he has multiple, of course, but the guy that was brought up at the end, Mora, like it wasn't him. So I'm kind of curious what this guy's gonna do to fit in.
Yeah, he has two cronies, you said.
Yeah, one kind of complaint I actually have about this chapter was the like the diagrams that they use to explain how certain things are. I kind of didn't like. There was one where it was Zenichiro and how he's so impervious to everything, and it was wordy. The text size was really small, but I mean I understood it. It made sense. So it wasn't to my liking, but it was fine. The one I really didn't like was the main character trying to plan out everything, the whole like diagram for the plan with the arrows like pointing all everywhere. I hated experiencing that. That was awful. I just don't like how it's laid out, because it's like there's two things I need to read going to the center, and so my attention is like, how am I supposed to read this? I guess I split it up and I go to the middle, and then it splits off again, and I'm like, how am I supposed to read this? But then those things are going to the independent chains, and I'm like, how am I supposed to read this? And then it goes back to the middle, and I'm like, whatever, dude. You know, this is not made for humans. I don't have like a third eye. I can't I can't read it. But I did anyway at trying, but it was not, I didn't like it.
I just read one path and went to the other path.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that like they're converging, so it's like constantly. So I'm just kind of like, I want to know how this is supposed to fit in the whole time, but it was annoying.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't good. It definitely wasn't good, but I don't think I had the same problem with it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there were better ways to go about it than the way that they chose, and it was just annoying to read. I didn't like it because like to me it wasn't as intuitive, like just visually, because like I don't know, my brain kind of wants to go from like whatever side, and then if it goes diagonal down to the center, then my brain instinctually is like, well, I just want to keep going in that direction and then bounce back, but that's not how it's supposed to be read. So I was like, it wasn't natural, reading it wasn't natural, and that's kind of a problem with manga. If you break up the flow of how the reader's like intuitively trying to go through. But other than that though, like the chapter obviously introduced like the new crony and like the next conflict. I thought it was really cool. The one part that I thought was interesting was when you see Q trying to look up different things to pinpoint who this person is, and they're like pachinko slots, and the smartphone even responds like, "But slots?" So I think that's kind of cool because interesting idea. Because someone with a super smartphone, you know, what's the most generic thing that someone would do with something like that? Probably get a ton of money, right? So
Yeah, I like how he's also putting himself at the high-rise incident so that the police can like interview him at the station. So that's how he can get in contact, which will be cool. That's what I assumed he's doing. Of course, it might not be, but
yeah, I'm kind of curious because the whole like paranoia of is Zenichiro listening in on the line that like on the call? Like I don't know. Like what can you even? I was trying to think about that. Like what do you even do to communicate freely with someone if you don't know like if someone else is eavesdropping? I guess they know what Zenichiro looks like, but again, he has the cronies to fill in for him, so I don't know.
Akane Banashi.
It was kind of a little bit more setup, but this time they kind of, instead of introducing a random character, they were introducing like the big threat.
Don't forget, this is another series where some drip was shown off this week.
That's some drip. It was the two students that were like, you know, Akane senpai.
They're in disguises, which is just nice outfits.
Are they nice? I thought they were kind of tacky.
I thought the one that wasn't like the same as the shirt. I thought the one with the black pants and the shirt. I thought that looked nice.
Oh yeah, that's fine. That's fine. The one where they're matching though, that's a little.
Yeah, I don't know. It could be nice if you're going to the beach with it. I think that'd be fine.
Yeah, but they're not at the beach.
It's a disguise.
Yeah, but you're drawing more attention by being out of,
That's
you know.
I think that's the joke.
That is the joke.
I thought it was funny.
No, it was funny. It was funny. It's just stupid, but it is funny. I really like the panel where like the one guy with the glasses, he like stomps on the other guy's foot. I thought the paneling was like very funny. I was just like, ah, nice.
Cape Arm My Hero Academia guy. I think he's going to bomb. I don't know. It's just the vibe I get. He like wants to show off like his version, like a new fancy version of Rakugo, and in front of like a very traditional master. And so I just imagine he won't do well.
Yeah, I mean they did show that the master guy Isho or whatever, he was trying to be nicer in his criticism for some of the people that were doing the Rakugo. So I'm kind of curious to see, will he actually bomb or will he just get praise that doesn't really mean much? I don't know. I mean, I don't even know what this guy means by new style of Rakugo. So
yeah, we'll
honestly,
have to wait and see.
Yeah, that's even more interesting to me. But it was a really good setup chapter. They introduced like new villains. There's this guy who we've seen, and I'm pretty invested to see at this point like what the heck is he talking about, you know? And the reaction from Isho, of course. But it was a very solid setup chapter. I'm really excited for next week.
Well, thank you for tuning in for this week. A lot of good chapters, some drip included, and I'm looking forward to the next week. And I hope you tune in next week. Thank you, like and subscribe, and we'll talk to you down in the comments. Have a nice one.
See ya.